que mais romântica.
Hello and welcome to Skimo Gold. This is the premier podcast and YouTube show for ski mountaineering, interviews, and race analysis. I'm your host, Travis Macy. You can find me at travismacy.com. I'm very excited to bring you today a conversation with Cam Smith. You can find Cam on Instagram at Cam from CB. If you didn't know who Cam was before the Olympics, you probably do now. Cam has been a wonderful person for over 30 years now. He's been a top Skimo athlete for well over a decade. He's been an Olympian for about a month, and now he's back home in Crested Butte. And we spent a good chunk of time here reflecting on the Olympics and Cam's experience, and also breaking down the racing since the Olympics. There's been a lot going on since then. Cam and I give you the scoop here on the Power of Four here in Colorado. The U.S. Nationals Skimo race that's held at the Wasatch Powderkeg. The European National Championships race that was held in Azerbaijan. And also we talk a little bit about the Pierre Menta race, which is going on right now. Check out Pierre Menta. When this comes out, 2 stages of the 4-stage Pierre Menta will have happened. That means 2 more to come. It's the Tour de France of Skimo. It's super exciting. Check out skimostats.com for updates. Check out Pierre Menta on Instagram. Also check out Pierre Menta on YouTube. This is fantastic stuff. And we've got some top Americans over there, including Colin Kelly and Logan Gray-Donis, who joined us for an episode on March 10th. So if you haven't caught that, go back and listen to that as well. So lots of assignments, lots of things to check out. But right now, just sit back and enjoy. Always wonderful to chat with Cam. I appreciate him, so much as an athlete, and it was great to follow that Olympic journey. And even more so, Cam, just appreciate you as a friend and human being. And I think that comes through in this conversation. As always, before we roll, thanks as always to the brands that support Skimo Gold. We couldn't do this without you. Camp, they've been making high-end mountain gear for well over 100 years now, based in Italy, over there in the small towns near where the Olympics were held, making great stuff. And also Dynafit and Pomoka, 2 of the top brands worn by many of the best ski mountaineers out there, including Cam. Cam's been on Dynafit and Pomoka stuff for a long time, and it's clearly working well for Cam Smith. All right, folks, time to roll on Skimo Gold. Cam Smith, welcome back to the Skimo Gold podcast. Dude, it is so good to see you. You're home in Crested Butte. We're recording this on March 9th. Man, I'm doing the math. We're like 2 weeks and 2 days or something, more or less, since you were competing there in the Olympics. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about some race results. But man, it's just... it's so good to see you and welcome home. I'm glad that you're home. I'm glad that you're able to settle and just kind of take a rest from the race scene. Olympics looked awesome. It looked like a lot. And yeah, man, it's good to see you. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, likewise, Travis. It's been super fun to keep up with each other during all the excitement of the last few weeks and months. But none of those were via podcast. So it's great to digitize and record some of our back and forths and share it. So yeah, excited to chat today.
So the plan today, we're going to talk, give you a little bit break from athlete mode, Cam, and you get to go back to sports fan mode. I think, the Bears didn't win the Super Bowl. I think last time we talked,
Um,
the Bears were still alive. The Bears didn't win the Super Bowl, but there's some great skimo that's happened since the Olympics. So we'll chat a bit about that, and then hear some more reflections from you on the Olympics journey, and also what's to come next, and maybe even non-racing stuff as well. Here we are in Colorado, like it's kind of finally snowing. Hopefully get in some skiing and other stuff this spring. But first and foremost, Power of Four. So you and I recorded an episode about a Power of Four with Doug from Cripple Creek. Listeners, that's on the stream if you want to learn about one of the best races in Colorado, and really in the country, maybe one of the best races in the world. I think that was happening. I think it was the same day as the mixed relay Olympics. So you were doing that. I was on a plane to Japan of all places. I went to this leadership retreat in Japan. So neither of us were at the Power of Four. I think the course was adjusted. It was a little longer. Did you hear any about that, Cam? Any thoughts on what that adjustment was?
Yeah, someone else could speak with some more certainty, especially someone that was there at the race. But it seems like the last few years they've kind of moved away from that Sugar Bowls traverse to get from Snowmass over to Buttermilk and cut across on the
Mm.
government trail a little bit lower. But this year, different from either of that kind of A or B course, it seemed like they sort of combined both of you still climbed all the way up Snowmass, skied down, and then traversed on the government trail to get over to Buttermilk. So I think it made it the longest Power of Four there's ever been. And my impression was that this is how the course will look going forward. It's just a little bit easier to manage not having to go across that ridge as they're setting the course. They just have to add 1,000 feet or so of climbing to do so. But my understanding is that this is the future course, so that's definitely notable.
Oh wow, interesting. I don't know anyone who's ever finished the Power of Four and asked for another 1,000 feet of climbing. But if if the course is the course, I guess that's what it is. And now maybe the times obviously were a little slower. I guess maybe there will be sort of an old course record and a new course record. But so here's the results. Well, I'd love to congrats to anyone who started and or finished the Power of Four or Power of Two. These are epic events. We can't get through the whole results, but let's just read off top three men and women. On the women's side, first place was Team Strafe. That's Kristen Lane and Kelly Wolf. They were at 6 hours and 38 minutes. Second to Jill Seeger and Caroline Torrey. Third to Nicolette Jones and Manasa Franklin. On the men's side, 524. This was Team Boulder Skimo / Quad Gods. Great name there, guys. Davide Giardini and Logan Gray Donis. Listeners, check out. We got previous episodes with both of those guys. A lot of fun. Logan's episode just came out. Second was Joe Demore and Jacob Dewey. We actually have an interview with Joe Demore coming out very shortly here. And third was Matthew Fox and Nick Noon. So, Cam, any thoughts on those? And maybe just as relevant, did you actually meet the quad god there in Italy?
I was this close to being the quad god. I actually opened my mouth to introduce myself, and he was whisked away to the next person clamoring for his
Okay.
attention at the opening or at the closing
Yep.
ceremony. A hard guy
Yep.
to get a hold of. We were featured in a
Yep.
Google commercial together. So I don't know
Oh,
if you
seriously?
noticed.
No way. I
Yeah,
didn't see that. Is that available
yeah.
online?
I think it's on his Instagram page. So they used my
Okay.
footage, so I wasn't an actor in the
Yeah.
commercial, but he was. So he was certainly the feature. I was a very small part. But yeah, this close to our intro. But yeah, it's like trying to talk to the bride at a wedding is quad god at an Olympic
I
ceremony.
can
But
only imagine. Yeah.
let's circle back to these Power of Four podium finishers. Congrats to all those racers. It seemed like For the most part, those are a lot of experienced Power of Four veterans that
Yep.
know what to expect, know the course, know what's awaiting them in the second half, and probably had some good veteran tricks up their sleeve to manage that. With the exception of, I don't recognize those names from the third place female team. So congratulations to them. We'll have to,
Mhm.
yeah, do some digging, find out who they are and how they came to finish on the podium of one of the biggest races in the country. So congrats to them. Congrats to all six of those teams. Yeah, seemed like it was a great day of racing out there. I got a play-by-play from Logan about the men's race a little bit. I haven't connected with any of the female winners, but sounds like they were really battling on those first two mountains. And yeah, it sounds like Logan and Davide just held a little more in reserve early, and then were really able to make a difference on Highlands, but still with some big suffering. Like they were hurting, they were struggling, they were fighting to get to the top of that 4,000 or so foot climb. But Power Four is so hard that you can be hurting, suffering, and still putting time into everyone else because everyone's having a hard time out there. So yeah, it sounds like it was some tough racing. And then Midnight Mine had maybe a slightly longer alteration around normally one spot where there's kind of a switchback cutoff near I think it's Closure's cabin. It's one of the kind of the old time Power Four
Yeah.
GT racers has a cabin up there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it sounds like Midnight Mine was as much of a drag or more than always, and yeah, those six teams handled it better than everyone else. So yeah, it sounded like it was a good day of racing.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. And that's another climb, the Midnight Mine Road. We talked about that on the previous episode. To make that any longer is pure mental torture. And that of course is the one and only Mike Closer. A an idol of my youth and mentor of my life with adventure racing, Skimo, etc. So shout out to Mike if you're out there listening. Mike's daughter, Heidi, also an Olympian, I believe 2014 Sochi. She was doing the moguls, and it
Nice.
was a big bummer. Poor snow quality, and a bunch of athletes crashed like in the warm ups
No.
on the
Okay.
moguls. And Heidi had a bad injury. I think it was before even official run. Anyway, kind of
Yeah.
sidetracked here. Well, thanks, Cam, and more episodes of Power Forward to come in the future. Yeah, familiar names there. The third place women's team. There is a Nicolette who lives in the Snowmass area, who is an incredible mountain biker and multi-sport athlete. And I'm not sure if this is the same Nicolette. Or not, but if it is, not surprised to see her up there. Um, let's see. On to the next race. Another big one. We got a lot of results here, so we can't spend a ton of time on each one. But this is the USA Nationals Skimo at the Wasatch Powderkeg race. This happened just over the previous week and weekend, kind of. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday through Sunday. So a bunch of races. Maybe before we hear the results, Cam, this is a place you've raced many times. Set the scene a little bit. Wasatch Powder Keg. What's the history? What are these courses like? What are people getting into? And it's also cool. I mean, we're going to read off the top three, sort of at the elite level, but like there's just tons of people at any level, kids, middle-aged people, older people, everyone's out doing it. It's a fantastic event.
Totally. Yeah. I will butcher some of the history a little bit. Yeah, if Sarah Cookler or Chad Bracklesberg would even have it further back, they'd be able to add some more color. But I believe it started in the 90s as one of the original
Wow.
races in the US up there with the Grand Traverse and the Heathen Challenge. Potentially older than both. Again, we would need some color from the locals on that, but it was actually a World Cup in 2004 and 2005 before the ISMF existed. So a lot of the Europeans came over and raced it there. There is something about it was like a traverse from Alta to Brighton or Solitude or vice versa. If you started in one canyon and finished in the other, yeah, this old kind of classic point to point individual race that it sounds like, yeah, was a pretty neat event, and then has evolved into lately it's been the national championship every year. So it has all four of the kind of World Cup disciplines. So mixed relay, sprint, individual, vertical. That's the order that they happened this year and last year at the Powder Keg, with a rest day in between the sprint and individual. So it sort of allows people, if they're mostly just interested in individual and vertical racing, they can just come for the weekend. If you're going to race everything, then you can get it all done in 5 days with a little bit of rest, thankfully, there in the middle. And yeah, it's just a super, super well run event with lots of participation. Obviously, the locals, with having so many skiers based nearby, with Salt Lake City right there, and such a big ski culture in the Wasatch, and then lots of people have traveled from all over the country to race there too. So it's been a good way to get everyone together for competitive national championships lately. It was a little bit more sparsely attended this year, I think, with it being in March, where it was in January last year. People were being pulled in different directions. A lot of the national team was either preparing for Pierre Menta. There was a World Cup happening in Azerbaijan that we'll get to briefly, that also served as European Championships. And then, unfortunately, just taking down the list of the national team athletes, a few people were missing for health issues as well. So yeah, missing some key players, but still had some great turnout for all 4 events.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun. The later you get in the season, whether it's health or this or that, and all these other events, it's like who's left standing, or I'm
Exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
getting ahead a little bit here, but I see John Gaston on here, a couple phenomenal performances. Obviously, not surprising. I don't know. I know John did the Solitude World Cup back in December, where you guys qualified for the Olympics. He looked great there. Has John done any Skimo races since then? Do you know? Did he do anything in between? Maybe he did some and I missed him. I don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't done any races since then. Once in a while, he
Yep.
does the Heathen Challenge, but it looked like he skipped it this year. And then he ran the Power of Four, so he ran it solo, I think, as a bit of race practice and race simulation, and maybe that was a
Hmm.
build up for Powder Keg on his end. But then, since he was solo for this team race, he didn't count in the official results. But yeah, of course, he had a great great ski that day, and it sounds like he went pretty fast. But he was out front, maybe breaking some trail, maybe not. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, he was out there the day of the Power Four, kind of doing his own race.
So interesting. I didn't hear
Yeah.
that. That's interesting. I did see John's brother Pete won the Power of Two with Bucky Schaefer. I believe those guys were flying way ahead of the competition. But let's see. Back to the U.S. Nationals results. We'll go division by division. The mixed relay, first was Haley Hafman with Noah Brown. Second, Gwen Rudy with Joshua. You may need to help me with some names. Cam Bearer, I think it is. And then third, Amanda Kautzer and George Beck. So good job to those teams. By the way, audience, the one and only Max Valverde did a nice kind of at home style live stream of a couple of these races, and you can find those on the USA Skimo YouTube channel. Those recordings, and those were pretty good. So good job, Max, with those. Cam, any surprises in that relay? I'd say those were the names I kind of expected to see up there, especially Haley and Gwen were kind of ruling the races across all of the disciplines. I would say pretty much as expected. Is that what you would say, Cam?
Yeah, I think Haley and Gwen are the most experienced names of that bunch of six, so you'd expect that they would be able to make a bit of a difference for their teams, and it looks like that's how it shook out on the live stream. The two of them were battling, and then Haley was able to make a bit of a difference on that second climb in particular with her great strength, and yeah, gave Noah a bit of a lead, and then it looked like he held up his end, and they were able to win a national title. So congrats to them, congrats to those second and third place teams as well. And yeah, it just seems like a great opportunity to have some other names up there towards the front and making a difference. And yeah, they must have had a good time competing out there, being able to be at the front of the Nationals A final. The course looked well done on the live stream, and
Mhm. Yep.
yeah, hopefully they had a good time out there.
All right, folks, welcome back. Cam and I had a 24-hour delay. Life came knocking, as it will. Hey, listeners, here's your challenge. Go on to YouTube. Two questions. Question number one: what's different about Cam's appearance? Not a whole lot. The beard is still there. Cam, the beard's becoming a thing. It's up to you, but like people are showing up with beards at your events. They're showing up at their own events. There's stampedes of people, in Nordic races wearing red beards. So Cam, I don't know, that maybe is it a lifelong thing, Cam, or I don't know. It's part of the brand.
Oh, I don't know. If it's not, then there'll be plenty of attachable beards to count on for for a long time to come.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. But there
Mm.
is something different in Cam's appearance. So go on to YouTube and then, go on to Skimo Gold Instagram. Give us a DM and we will give you a shout out on the podcast. Question number one, the difference in Cam's appearance. Question number two is, listeners, what do you think of my haircut? So just before this, I went to the barber. I told the guy, Ben in Salida, the guy does a great job. I said, Ben, what do you think? And I said, the guy who was in the chair before me, his haircut looks pretty cool. And he's like, you really want that? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I got it. Ben did a great job. This haircut, Cam, maybe you've seen it before. It's kind of popular, I think, with guys my age who are trying to like hang on to their youth or something. And imagine like a 2004 cycling time trial helmet, the long pointy one like that Lance and those guys were wearing in that era. If that time trial helmet was a haircut, that would be what I have. So I'm just gonna turn in the share here and
All right, there we go.
so there you go. I don't know, YouTube audience, check that out. I walk past my wife coming into the house and she sort of made this like painful noise of shock. So I don't know, Cam, what do you think? I mean, is this time trial helmet, is it a good thing, a bad thing? It's kind of a business in the front, party in the back sort of thing.
Yeah, it looks fast. It's yeah, reverse mullet style a little bit, and yeah, I think time trial's a good analogy.
Yeah, I think that's sort of my thought. I've kind of been liking running lately, and I'm sort of feeling like I might just move fast through the air, running. Anyway, too much of that. On to U.S. Nationals sprint results from the past weekend. On the women's side, we had Gwen Rudy followed by Haley Hafman and Amanda Kautzer. On the men's side, we had Arthur Whitehead, Ian Clark, and Noah Brown. Boy, Arthur Whitehead took off like a rocket and it never came back. He sure was looking tough there. Noah Brown, shout out to that guy. I've known Noah since he was a high school student, and man, he's coming strong in the Skimo. Way to go, Noah. We're gonna keep watching you to see what comes. Individual race, women's, we had Kelly Wolf took the win, followed again by Haley Hafman. She was on every podium, I think. And Sarah Burke. Sarah, good job. Good listeners, go back, check out Sarah and Ian, in fact, Ian Clark on an Olympics recap episode where we talked about Cam's Olympic race. That was super fun and just awesome to get that expert analysis from Sarah and Ian. And then on the men's side and the individual, we had John Gaston, Joe Demore, and Jacob Dewey. Very familiar names from the top of the U.S. and international Skimo world. And finally, in the vertical was Haley Hafman, Sarah Burke, and Samantha Kelly. Way to go, Sam, from right here in Chaffee County. Good job at mixing it up there. And then on the men's side, John Gaston, John Rowan, I believe is the pronunciation, and Joe Demore. Cam, thoughts on any of those results? I don't see any big surprises. Seems like business as usual. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a lot there, so I'll probably miss some notable things, but just off the cuff, I noticed Haley winning the mixed relay and verticals, the same results for her as last year. She won both of those events, then being on the podium in the other couple is great, and it sounds like she had some skin troubles in the individual, but was having a great race otherwise, but that's part of the event. And also in the sprint, she was hunting down Gwen on that downhill and never quite found room to pass. So
That's
she
right.
was
That was a good
close in all
finish.
four events. So yeah, great showing from her. And then that reminds me as well in the junior category, McCall Birkinshaw won all 4 U20 women's events. So that was a great showing, showing, yeah, depth across, or yeah, versatility across all 4 events. So big shout out to both of those women. Super impressive racing. And yeah, Arthur looked great in the sprint. He had a gear that no one else could match. And racing sprints domestically is a little bit of a different game because you have more rounds to race through normally, higher altitude with these powder keg events being at Solitude. And yeah, Arthur seemed to handle it really well and had a super smooth race all the way through. In that sprint, you often see people take off really hard in the sprint, and then it leads to trouble in transition zones or later on in the boot pack in that second skin, and oftentimes the people that start the most aggressively are the ones that yeah, just make little tactical and mental errors, and Arthur was super smooth all the way through, so that was impressive to see and great to have him show his talent and how hard he's been working in the sprint specifically. um I think Amanda Kautzer then was third in both the sprint and mixed relay, right? Again, we're 24 hours in
Yep.
between these, so I'm I'm not
Yes,
as
she
on
was.
rhythm
Yep.
as
Third
I
in the
would be.
mixed relay
Yeah,
was Amanda with George Beck. Yeah.
cool. Yes, that's great to see from someone that isn't on the national team of 2 podiums in the Olympic disciplines, and then same situation with Noah. I think they were both third both of those days, so that's cool to see. And then, yes, more classic names in the vertical and individual. It seemed like once the weekend came, then there was more of the old guard vertical and individual racers with John taking both wins. Great to see Kelly winning the individual. Haley's up there, of course, and then a lot of the familiar names from Saturday, then race Sunday in the individual, then in the vertical. So we saw Joe Demore again, so a double podium, and then John Rowan, I think, didn't race up to his ability. I think he showed with that 11th place at the Indoor World Cup that when he's on, he's on absolutely on fire and can compete with the best in the world. And just kind of comparing times and the gaps and all that, I and chatting with him a bit, I think he didn't quite show what he's capable of, but then he'll have a few more World Cup verticals throughout the rest of the season. And that's how it goes sometimes, especially with traveling to all these
Yeah.
races all season long. So yeah, shout out to John, and that's my off the cuff reaction.
Cool. Very good. Yeah. Thank you. I was one name that I thought I might see, but I didn't. That's probably familiar to listeners is Griffin Briley. A young American. He's been on the podcast before. Hopefully, will be again. I know, or I believe, Griffin and Jesse Young were at the in Italy on site more or less as the alternates behind you and Anna for the Olympics. Obviously the two of you ended up not getting hurt, not getting sick, so you got to race. And they got to be there. I've been curious a little bit about that experience for them as alternates. Again, hopefully we can get one or both of them on the podcast to talk about it. And then also curious about what they're doing next. I think I heard Jesse Young is doing Pierre Menta, which will be going when this podcast comes out. And catch us up on Griffin. How's he doing? Is he still in Europe? Is he doing more World Cups? Is he ready for a break? Is he healthy, happy? What do we know about Griffin?
Yeah, he's in limbo a little bit. So he had some health issues pop up during the European training camp when he was getting ready for the Olympics as an alternate, training with Anna and I up at Passo
Mm,
Tonale. And yeah, he flew home and he's feeling well and everything seems good, but he's just taking some time to relax a bit. So yeah, gave himself a buffer, missed the national championships, and then I think he's still in flux with his plans for the rest of the season. But he was there
yep.
watching Saturday, Sunday, and yeah, just still working through yeah, figuring some stuff out.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, good for him. Great. Not surprised that he's out there supporting the crew as well. And then maybe final question on U.S. nationals. A name probably quite familiar to the audience is John Gaston. I think the first time I interviewed John was with you, Cam, and this was the Grand Traverse. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. You guys had come off winning the Grand Traverse together. And you know, there's a lot of people at this highest level in skimo, you know, probably overall on the men's side, you and John have been, you know, the ones generally at the top, whether that's from, you know, the shorter races to the longer ones. Great to see John out there still doing well. And I wonder, you know, listeners may speculate like, well, what about the Olympics? You know, John, does John get a chance for the Olympics? And, you know, I don't know. I mean, 4 years away sounds like the individual may come to France. Maybe you know more if that's been confirmed or not. That'd be a great race for you. It'd be a great race for John. It'd be a great race for many of these other men and women. You know, 4 years is a long time. You're in your early 30s. I think John is mid to late 30s. You know, he seems like a really resilient athlete. Maybe he could still be at the top then. I don't know. What do you, a lot of speculation here, Cam. Any thoughts on all this?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. We'll find out in June, likely, if the individual will be in 2030 or not, but all indications are that it seems likely, but there's been surprises before, so you can never be sure. John's 39 now, I believe. So that
Okay.
gives him 4
Yep.
more years up to 43. But yeah, I mean, he's shown no signs of slowing down. And if anything, he's been improving at Leadville, having, yeah, better power outputs at Leadville, continuing to race at
Yeah.
a dominant level in the verticals and individuals at home. So you can never put anything past him. I did hear some secondhand rumors of him hanging it up after this season as far as the skimo racing's done, but
Hmm.
is concerned. But I don't believe it. I've heard that similar similar echo from many friends, many racers on this scene that then give it another 4, 5, 6, 7 years after that. So I'd be surprised if John wasn't giving it a good go for the next 4 years, honestly. And yeah, I mean, he showed no signs of slowing down. So a lot of uncertainty there with making sure the individual's in. And yeah, just a lot of time for life to change, for things to happen. But yeah, you never know. I think anything's possible.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, well, we shall see. Yep, I'm 43 now. I'm doing things like getting haircuts for aerodynamics to feel fast. John will still be there. I will not be surprised if John is on the Leadville
Yeah.
100 bike podium in 4 years. John would have won Leadville many times now had it not been for a certain Keegan, and you know that
Exactly.
may still happen. So anyway, we're pulling for John. Way to go! Hopefully, we'll get John on this podcast sometime soon. Before we get to the World Cup results and then Olympics, real quick, Cam, any thoughts from you on Pierre Menta, whether it's Team USA or teams to look out for, you know, in this 4-day massive stage race? We've got Olympians there. We've got, you know, a husband and wife couple, I believe, who live in Aresh and are the king and queen of long distance skimo. What do you think is going to happen, Cam?
Yeah, so let's start with the women. I'm pulling up some of the top female teams, and you can never bet against Axel with living in Arash and knowing those mountains and being as dominant of an athlete as she is. And I think she is one of many examples of someone that will have a little bit more focus going in. Some people have been racing the Olympics, some people just went to Azerbaijan, some have been doing this entire World Cup season, but she should be pretty dialed in and ready to go. And then our partner, Celia Perle-Passe, was really close to making the Olympics, but then found out
That's
after
right.
the December, or no, the January World Cup that she wouldn't, but she's had plenty of time to shift as well. And I'm sure she's really excited and ready to go. And then you have the two French Olympic sprinters, Emily Harop and Margot Ravenel, racing together. They've
Mm,
both been on incredible form in the sprint, and then they've also both respectively shown a lot of talent in the vertical and individual. And
yep.
so they've certainly haven't been training for it, but they've just both been on fire across the disciplines. So it'll be really interesting to see how the race goes for those two. I'd yeah, expect big things. Two Swedish women, Tove Alexandersson and Emily Forsberg. They'll both be some classic long distance racers. So and both have raced
Yeah.
very well here before with wins and podiums. So yeah, you just go
In
down
lots of
the
sports. These are
list
big,
and
big names, Cam. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, it looks like the top Italian teams will be Silvestro and Lisa Moraschini, and then Ilaria Veronese and Giulia Campagnoni. So a lot more depth
Mm.
there from the Italians too. And gosh, yeah, a lot of talent on the start line. And when people are listening to this, they'll have seen those first couple stages of results. But I definitely look for um, Axel and Celia, as well as Tove and Emily, to improve as the race goes on and as the fatigue starts to hit. And it'll just be a little bit more similar to what they've been training for. But then you also might see some of these Olympians like Emily and Margot and then Alba kind of easing their way into the race as well. And their body might remember how to do these endurance races during stage 1 and 2, and then they'll continue to improve in 3 and 4. So yeah, I think it'll really come down to stages 3 and 4 to see um, yeah, to see who will end up having success in the GC. It'll yeah, it's a long race, and I think that stage 3 and 4 will be more indicative of the final results than stages 1 and 2 by themselves will be. So
Yep.
on the men's side, you have almost a mirror image with Xavier and William Bonmardion racing together. Xavier Gachet, that is, two locals that, yeah, have, in Xavier's case, let's see, I think grew up there. In William's case as well. So, yeah, lifelong Arishwa. And, yeah, again, super focused, trained for this, didn't have any conflicting goals throughout the season. Um, Michele Boscacci and Roberto Antonioli, some classic names that have won this race before, won a lot of races together, but we haven't seen them so much lately, other than Michele racing in the Olympics. We haven't seen him racing in the team races very often. Then Roberto's been doing more of the Italian Cup, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm sure they'll do fantastic. Sam McKee and Anselme Damvon are two great up and coming. Anselme is more of an up and coming French racer. Sam McKee is more my age, and has won some Pierre Menta stages before. They'll be one to watch out for. And then another classic Italian team: Davide Magnini, William Bofelli, Remy Bonnet, and Francois Dane, to Solomon running teammates. We'll see, how that pairing goes there on paper. Not matched up as well with the same strengths and weaknesses as some of the other teams, with Remy being such an aerobic machine, and then Francois being more of the veteran, experienced, done this race a lot of times, lives pretty much at the start line.
Mm.
You could throw a stone from his back porch or front porch to the start. So yeah, we'll see how they work together. Another strong Austrian team in there with Hannes Lofer and Niels Oberbauer, some Norwegians with Hansa Gekletta and Trim Delsa Lodoin. A lot of guys you can't count out. And then I think one more team we want to mention is Anton Pulzer and Nadir Magay, two guys that have stepped away to mountain guide and pro cycling race. So again,
Mm.
on paper, not two things that are super similar, but I have a feeling they'll find a way to have some success, because both those guys are really talented athletes and really experienced with this style of race. So yeah, a lot of teams to watch out for, a lot of excitement, and as people are listening to this, hopefully they're getting excited for that third and fourth stage coming up. Or actually, by the time they're listening, it might be just the fourth stage coming up on Saturday. So that'll be a great one and decide the GC for these races. And we'll have some American teams competing in there too. So I think the top American men's team to watch out for will be Logan and Tom, Logan Gradanis and Tom Goff. They'll be in the hunt for, it'd be amazing to see them push into the top 20, top 15. And then for the women, they've mixed and matched a little more lately, and I've lost track a little bit with the craziness that I've had the last few weeks of who's racing with who. I think Kelly Wolf and Kristen Lane are together.
Hmm.
And then certainly watch out for them if that's the case. And apologies if I've mixed up the teams, but yeah, there's been a little bit of back and forth with who's racing with who lately.
Cool, man. Thanks. That's super helpful. Maybe Colin and again, listeners, check out our episode March 10th for a little more. Those guys had thought maybe Jesse Young as well. And I'm not sure if that was
Yeah.
subbing for Kelly or Kristen. Yeah. So anyway, we will see. Cam, how are you going to follow Pierre Menta? Is it YouTube? Is it Pierre Menta Instagram? What's the best way to see? This is so epic. The terrain, the racing, the level of competition, the how close the top teams are together. I mean, there could be like a 5 second gap at the end of a stage. It's just mind boggling. How are you going to follow it?
Yeah, I'll be seeing the results populate first thing on the Skimo stats page. That'll be the
Hmm.
first indication of what happened. And then piece together a little bit, maybe seeing if some of those guys repost Instagram stories or on the Pierre Menta Instagram. And then we'll get a really good idea of how it all shook out when the daily YouTube recaps come out, which are usually entirely in French. So great practice for anyone
Mm,
trying to up their French, and then a little bit confusing for those people and everyone else living
yep.
living stateside. So yeah, that'll be a fun way to follow the races. But they put out some very, very high quality video recaps after each stage, and then they'll mash them all together afterwards. And those videos are fantastic. They're one of the best things to watch when you're on a treadmill or indoor trainer, dreaming of skimo in the fall. And
Yep.
yeah, just some really high quality videos. So I'm looking forward to seeing those.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Cam. Listeners, check it out. It's going to be fun to follow, and I can tell, Cam, just as you're talking about this race, I can see the enthusiasm and excitement. I would expect probably it's a race that you will find yourself back at sometime in the future. I know that you've spent a lot of time in Aresh, where the race is based. It's a special place, and just something pretty cool and unique.
Absolutely, yeah. I've told myself many times that this will be the last time I miss the race, and I'm hoping that this time I'm serious. There's been a lot of factors with
Yeah.
injuries and then with the Olympic qualification process. And then I said, oh, finally this year everything will be out of the way and I'll be able to race this every year indefinitely. And yeah, just life came up and I had to come home and yeah, feeling at peace with just calling it an early season and gonna really enjoy watching and cheering from afar for sure.
Yeah, good. Good for you. Good job embracing enoughness. It's been a big theme for me as well. All right, one more round of results. We'll make them quick, and then I promise we will hear more about Cam's Olympics experience. But this final round of results, this was the ISMF European Championships, also a World Cup race in Azerbaijan. They had, the typical all the disciplines. We'll go through the top three briefly, but Cam, set the stage. Azerbaijan, it looked awesome. It looked like there was snow. I heard off-piste skiing in the individual. The sprint and relay course looked epic to me, like steep, technical, icy, dropping off at the that top transition in the sprint, like right out of the transition. Like it looked like almost dropping a cornice into this icy thing where you had to turn sideways and round a gate, and it made for really exciting racing. What are your thoughts on this venue, Cam?
Yeah, I haven't been there. There was a World Cup there last year, European
Okay.
Championship
I didn't know that
happening
you hadn't
last
gone.
week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it should be the World Championships next year. So yeah,
Okay.
hopefully there'll be a good turnout there next year. But yeah, it's great that they had all four events together. Seemed like yeah, some worthy champions and some exciting racing out there. So we'll run through it and then yeah, offer a couple thoughts.
All right, cool. Yeah, so let's start with the sprint races. In the men's, we'll just go podium here for time's sake. Winner Nikita Filipov. Cool to see him get a win. An athlete I'm interested in on the upswing, Olympic medal. Now he wins. I think his first World Cup win at a championship. Pretty cool. Thomas Boussard of Switzerland second, and Haute Ferrer Martinez of Spain was third. And then on the women's side, the podium, third, Tatiana Poller. Check out her interview on Skimo Gold. Second, Julia Murata. Also love talking to her before the Olympics. And then first was Marianne Fatone, following up her Olympics gold medal in the sprint with another win just a couple weeks later. In these finishes, did you watch these on YouTube, Cam? These two sprint finishes?
I did, yeah. It was super exciting racing. You saw Nikita make that pass to move from third to first on in one gate at the finish of the European Championship downhill. That's yeah, pretty exciting racing and a huge yeah, it was an impressive move there for sure. And then I think the biggest storyline was watching Marion Faton 2 weeks after winning the gold medal, just showing up with some athletes just have a clutch gene, or it could have been less than 2 weeks too. It was that more like a week and a half. But
Yeah.
anyway, she was behind and made some really strong late race moves and was gritting her teeth and had some perfectly executed transitions. And she's just someone that has always risen to the occasion at World Championships, European Championships. Then we saw it on the biggest stage in the Olympics. So she really showed who she was as someone that rises to the occasion in the highest pressure moments, has that clutch gene, and that was cool to watch her do her thing.
Yeah, listeners, go back, check those out, ISMF YouTube channel. And that was another downhill pass where Fatone was able to pass Murata, safely in a sportsmanlike manner. But it's amazing to see. Cam, how does that feel to you in one of these, controlled finishes like a sprint or a mixed relay? Either you're the person behind and you're trying to make a pass, or you can sense a real good skier on your tail. Like, are you thinking through, or are you analyzing, or is it just you're so in the zone, you're just skiing as fast as you can either way?
Yeah, the person in front is trying to ski as fast as they can. Because if you start thinking about closing doors here or there, then you're going to give that inside or outside angle to whoever's coming. And then if you're behind, you're just looking for an opportunity in every single gate because you're not going to get one everywhere, depending on the line that the person ahead of you takes. And so every single gate, you're thinking, is this the one? Is this the one? Is this the one? And then when you get your opportunity, you better be able to turn early and make that move and make it happen. And we like seeing sprints and relays with downhills, counting for a lot. I think that was one piece of feedback I heard from the Olympics is that the downhills were so easy that there wasn't I saw one pass I think happen throughout both days of racing, and it's a part of the race, so we should see some lead changes, see some dynamics happening on the downhill as well. But the flip side to that is the harder you make the downhill, the more opportunities there are to pass. So we saw that a little bit more in Azerbaijan, but also the worse the skiers look. And so I think that was on the organizers' minds in Bormio a little bit too. Of they made the downhill a little friendlier, and then it's a little easier to digest for the casual alpine racing fan that's tuning into Skimo for the first time. So yeah,
Mm.
we'll see what happens in the future there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Final question on the downhills at the very top level where you are, Cam. Are there sensibilities or conversations going on amongst competitors? On the one hand, no one wants to get hurt, no one wants to cause a crash or injure another person. On the other hand, like, a race is a race, and you try to win on the uphill and transitions and on the downhill. Are there any thoughts to that? Or are there guidelines, spoken or unspoken, in terms of where to pass or not? Or do those things just kind of develop?
Tends to work itself out because someone that has made an overtake on a downhill, regardless of how close they were, like had the ability to make that pass happen and should have that opening. Hopefully you can do it without contact, but there's pretty vague rules about sportsmanship and contact in the ISMF rulebook, and it just tends to work itself out, um, and just tends to work with common sense. The area that most issues happen are in the diamonds of the sprint race, of someone
That's
trying to
right.
make a pass on the outside of a turn or cutting across. There's a little bit more tension there normally, and there tends to be very little issue with people making contact in transition zones and downhills. And it's just more seen as part of the race.
Yeah. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. All right, on to more results from this Euro Champs. The mixed relay, first place was Switzerland, Fatone and Thomas Boussard again. Second place to Italy, Alba de Silvestro and Michele Boscacci. And third was Germany, Tatiana Poller and Finn Hosch. So a lot of names from the Olympics coming back, maintaining that high level. And finally on to the vertical. And the individual in the men's vertical, no surprise, we had Remy Bonnet as usual on first, followed by Aurelian Gay and Christoph Hochenwarter, I believe, of
Butter.
Austria. Hochenwarter.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Great. So, sort of a typical, Remy won by a minute. I heard a little post-race interview of Remy. I don't know if it was the vertical or the individual, but, he kind of said, I'm feeling good again at the beginning of the season. I was able to win the races, but I didn't, feel that good. And now I can just kind of keep winning. So, Remy's back. Interesting to see. Pierre Menta, let's see, the women's vertical, Austria, first place with Sarah Dreyer, followed by Italian Giulia Murata, and Caroline Ulrich of Switzerland was in third. And on to the individual race. Again, Remy Bonnet was first. Thomas Boussard, great outing for him, finished second place. And third was the Austrian Johannes. Cam, help me, Lowfire?
That's as close as I can get.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, cheers to those guys. That was a victory for Remy Bonnet by 3 minutes. And then on to the women's individual. Third was Alba de Silvestro, second Marianne Fatone, and first Giulia Murata. And again, audience, go back and check in February. We had interviews with both Giulia Murata and Alba de Silvestro. I loved talking with them. I loved hearing about their Italian culture, and just what Skimo means for Italy. Like it was great. As I talk to all these people, I'm just becoming their huge fans. And as we finally get to this, Cam, I'm your huge fan too. You went to the Olympics. You've answered, Cam, a million questions. You've told all these outlets from the New York Times to NPR to, your Google commercial with the quad god. Most of your job is to explain what Skimo is. Cam, you don't have to tell us what Skimo is. Everyone listening to this knows. What do you want to share with the Skimo audience, sort of your people, about this experience?
Oh boy. So yeah, thanks for setting the table, but I'm still working on the elevator speech of something that was just such a mind-boggling experience, but it was truly a dream come true, except 100 times better than I could have imagined. To be able to be on that stage and be part of that historic moment of showing the sport to the world, and to accomplish it in the style that Anna and I did, and just to be there to experience it all was just total dream come true. We could really feel all the support and excitement from home and from people that, are part of our communities and friends and families, but also just how far it reverberated back home, I think was really shocking to both of us, of just how far the sport reached. And the Olympics too just have such a broad appeal that no sport I've ever done has felt like, or no event that I've ever done has felt like, where people that I haven't talked to in 10 years, 15 years, like childhood friends, that are reaching out and saw it in their local news network, and made the connection and realized that it was someone they knew of. It's just really brought a lot of people out of the woodwork, and people that that I haven't talked to that a long time that traveled to Italy and watched the races, or hosted watch parties. And I think what's been really special with it being the Olympics is that that it has reached so far, and that so many people feel a part of it, like youth coaches and youth sports teammates, and like longer or like broader reaches within our families. And um, everyone just feels like they played a little part in making this thing happen, and that sharing has been what's been really cool about this in particular. And it's just really made made an impact on people, and was something that people seem to really enjoy watching. And I think what's different there is, in the past, if I have success at a race, people are happy for me, like, oh, we're glad that you did something you're proud of, or a handful of comments here or there about, oh, it inspires me that you perform that way or perform that way in this adversity or whatever it is. Like sometimes you get a little bit of people being excited about your race or a little bit of you felt like you inspired someone, but it's normally more theoretical than
Mm,
felt. And it was totally different with the Olympics. Of this really seemed to have a positive impact on people and really energize people at home, and was something that everyone really enjoyed feeling part of. And Anna and I were trying to share that joy that we were having out on the course and in the weeks before and the weeks after. And it just seems like it really, really resonated with people at home. So just really cool to share that and just feel how excited everyone's been. It's been like nothing else, certainly, and I'm still trying to process it all and put it into words, but was just such a special experience.
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it was fun to follow along, Cam. You're right. The ripples are happening and will continue to happen. I mean, I was skiing at Copper over the weekend with my son, just riding lifts, and I overheard, just hanging out on the bus and the chairlift and stuff, 3 conversations about Skimo in the Olympics. And like, never would you have heard at the resort people talking about Skimo. So people are noticing, and Cam, I think you're right. It's been fun to, when you and I talked like a year ago, you identified sort of these values that were guiding your process, and you said things like joy and excellence and fun, and letting those be the guide stones. And I've seen that come out, talking with you and Anna together, seeing your Instagram content. Like, it's clear that you guys took those things seriously. We got to see you come out and you guys got your little secret handshake, like only Team USA has a multi-step secret handshake that they do, upon arrival at the Olympic starting line. And like, I think one thing that made it special, it was very clear that you and Anna were on the same page and the same team orientation about, like, yes, outcome is important, but also like we are, carrying out and moving forward with these values in mind. And it generated fantastic performance, which I love to see. And I think is a great example, for my kids, for young Skimo athletes, for any athletes of any age. So way to go on that. One question I have for you, Cam, did anything surprise you, whether it's the racing, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's, talking with Snoop, I heard you say you got to meet, I wish I remember his name, the outstanding speed skater from America, who won all the golds, who I don't know if you saw on NBC, they had a little blip about his training, man. I know you've been hitting the weights hard, but Cam, look what this guy does, because he's jumping up and down on top of his washing machine and stuff. Um, anyway, what surprised you?
I mean, certainly what we outlined already of just how much impact it had at home was probably the most surprising part to me. And then everything else was just really unique to experience with all of the other Skimo racers for the first time, with the exception of Phil
Mm,
Bellingham from Australia, who's raced Nordic before. We were all
yeah.
going through this Olympic process for the first time, and you could see that in the village and in the dining hall of, like, some people feeling really nervous, some people seeming like they were really excited to be there and kind of bouncing off the walls, and everything in between. And it was really interesting to look around the room and realize, oh, someone in here is going to win gold today, and someone else is going to win silver, and someone else bronze. Like, greatness was in the room and was going to happen on the course regardless of who performed. And it was yeah, just really unique realizing that, going to bed the night before and waking up the morning of, like, history's happening today, and I don't know what it's going to entail, and what will happen on the course and what our race holds in store. But we know that we're going to be a part of these just huge moments in our sport, and these historic moments, no matter what. And that was really exciting and energizing, heading out to the races. And then, yeah, I mean, we knew it would be loud and exciting on the course. I thought that the noise would be like kind of just noise, and that all the cheering would drown each other out. But I could really directly hear a lot of the Americans out there in their American accents,
Wow.
and piercing through the the noise out there, and then especially with my and Anna's kind of crews and posses all consolidating in the stands, especially for the relay on Saturday. We came around the corner and looked up and just saw a bunch of pink and orange, and we knew where everyone was. And the second we came out of view, and this was an hour before the start, they just erupted like a deafening, deafening cheer. And like we were trying to go do our course preview, and there was still an hour's more worth of people filling the stands. And we realized then, like, wow, this is going to be a lot. And we could feel the emotions heading out for the course preview, and trying to keep each other calm in that moment and everything. And gosh, yeah, like I could go on and on and on and on for way too long about the minutia of it all, and we both have to get going here soon. But I mean, the surprising part, really, just to wrap it all up, is just how much impact it had at home. Like, I didn't expect that they would reach as far as it did, which was just so special to feel and to be a part of.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that, Cam. That's cool that you could hear individual voices. And listeners, check out right after that sprint race, we had a great on the ground recap with Rory Kelly and Joe Howdyshell, who were there and gave us a bit of a sense of that feel. It was really fun to hear from them. Final Olympics question, Cam, at least for now. Any thoughts on how you've grown as a person and or athlete? But probably some of that is still coming together. But does anything come to mind of how are you different from, how you were, a month ago?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, it feels like something I've been building towards my whole life, and that nothing really changed by qualifying and going through it per se. But I think every person in the world is doing amazing things. People are growing humans inside of them, and people are impacting youth, and people are taking care of their parents and creating ideas and putting ideas out there. And I think just about like everywhere you look, there's incredible things happening. And now I just happen to have had people notice that. So I don't think I'm necessarily very different from most people on the street, but it's like millions of people just got a direct insight into the journey it took for me to get here and what it looked like out on the course. And then now everyone's had that view of of this amazing thing happen. And so the attention has been what's really changed, and the understanding and just the ability to tell my story has changed. But again, I just feel like it's the Olympics put this unique spotlight on me and on Anna and on the other athletes that isn't necessarily because we're transcendent humans. It's just because everyone got an insight into what we're doing. If you gave that same insight to pretty much anyone walking down the street, you'd also be amazed. So I don't feel like I've changed too much. Of it was this lifelong build up to this moment, but now everyone has gotten an inside peek at what that looked like and is starting to process, wow, that must have been really hard, because it was. And so just that attention has been what's changed for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing all that, Cam. A lot of wisdom there as expected. And Cam, of course, we're excited for your next steps. I know I was really glad when you said that's it for you on Skimo this year. That seems like a good and healthy choice. I know you're pumped about some running coming up. I think you said you're going back to your work with the Adaptive Athletes Program in Crested Butte, which is a wonderful thing to do, and I know fills your soul. And I was thinking the other day, I mean, you've been married less than a year. You're back to hey, being a married man at home for a while. That's a great thing to do as well. So, Cam, thanks as always. Appreciate you. Excited to talk more, and have a good one. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Travis. We'll have to just keep coming back to these things.
Oh yeah, we will. All right, man. Have a good one. See ya.
Good too.
Hey, folks, thanks as always for listening to Skimo Gold. This is the premier podcast and YouTube show for ski mountain interviews and race analysis. Audience, we appreciate you being along. We appreciate you being part of the team. We appreciate you helping us grow momentum here with this project. Whatever you can do, rate, review, subscribe. Those are podcast things. Check out the YouTube. If you haven't seen us on YouTube yet, check that out. Check out our YouTube shorts. Give us some comments, thumbs up, all of those things on there is very helpful. Share anything that you can. And also check out at Skimo Gold on Instagram. We've got a lot of clips, reels, segments, stuff on there. Many people have been liking it. Those numbers are growing significantly. So thanks for checking it out if you want to. And also hit us up in the DMs there. I've been hearing from more and more listeners, whether you have feedback, guest recommendations, comments, things that we're not doing well, things that we could do better. Let us know those things. All of it is very much appreciated. Please also check out our producers. That's Palm Tree Pod Co. Anthony Palmer and the team. Guys, we appreciate you. If you are thinking about hosting a podcast or looking for professional support, Palm Tree Pod Co. You can see, especially on the YouTube, they've been doing a great job just really making it look professional with the thumbnails and the branding and all that. So guys, thank you very much. Check out Cam Smith online. He's at Cam from CB on Instagram. You can find me online, travismacy.com. And if you want to support Skimo Gold, please consider supporting the brands that support us. Camp has been with Skimo Gold from the start. And one thing I appreciate about Camp is the people who work there and run the company are mountain athletes and mountain people themselves. They get it. They've been on the ground at Skimo events and everything else from the start. My buddy Jesse Matner with Camp is often one of the people setting up fixed ropes in the very technical Skimo races here in Colorado. Jesse's out there doing those things. So shout out to you. Good job, Jesse. And thanks also to DynaFit and Pomoka, making some of the best and lightest stuff out there. And if you happen to hear this right now, I think it's still going on. Check out Salida Mountain Sports here in town in Salida. They've got some demos of lightweight DynaFit gear. So great chance to try out the gear if you haven't done so yet. And I talked to a couple friends who picked up the stuff, took it up to Monarch the other day. They were super pumped. These people who've been touring on a heavier setup, you get to the lighter ski, the lighter binding, the lighter boot, especially, it makes a huge difference in the uphill experience. You're moving faster and with more ease. It's really enjoyable. And, the feedback I got is this stuff skis on the downhill surprisingly well for how light it is. So please check it out. All right, folks, keep it rolling. Hope you're doing well as the spring weather hits here. Be sure to check out that Pierre Menta, and we will be back with you next week on Skimo Gold.